Welcome to Pollen Weather by Pollen Wise App. It's Tuesday, August 25th. I'm Landon Bunderson, and this is the place for daily allergy news and forecasts. It looks like the western fires aren't going anywhere anytime soon, so let's talk about smoke and allergies right after the forecast. Hurricane Marco has been downgraded to a tropical storm, though New Orleans and area still has to worry about flooding and potential tornadoes. Tropical storm Laura is not far behind and may strengthen to a Category 3 before it makes landfall in the U.S. Laura has already killed 9 people in the Caribbean. Though mold is the least of the region's worries right now, heavy rain and flooding will eventually lead to some significant mold levels. Many fires still burning in the west, and smoke is drifting as far east as Michigan. Air quality is something everyone in the west should be watching closely for. Even if your air is clear now, a slight shift in wind direction could put you downwind of a fire. If we switch to the smoke map, you can see the red triangles and orange circles. That's where the unhealthy smoke air is right now. Pollen levels are expected to reach the very high category in parts of California and much of the northern half of the U.S. and Southern California. If you see red on the map, that's not good. Oklahoma, we thought your peak had begun, but maybe not. The last few days have only had orange levels of pollen. I'm positive you have some more red days in you. Today we're unveiling another new map that will become a once weekly feature on our forecast. This map is the average peak pollen time over the last 7 days. We're using this map to help drive home the importance of hourly data for planning your day. Take a look at the Northeast. Over the last 7 days, the average peak pollen time was 5 p.m. The Southeast average peak time was 3 p.m. Meanwhile, the rest of the country was peaking at 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. You should be aware of this before you go out and do activities. And remember, even though the average time might be 2 p.m., that doesn't mean you can't have a day with a 10 a.m. or a 5 p.m. peak. There is a difference between the average peak time and the peak time of individual days. We'll talk more about this next week. Mold is going to be very high today in Iowa, Wisconsin, and parts of Utah and California. As I mentioned, flooded areas from Marco and really any other storm will eventually lead to very high mold. I don't currently have a prediction for South Carolina, but it can't be much longer until you get some very high mold levels down there. Looking at the temperature forecast today, a heat wave has come to the Midwest, and the western heat wave is still in play. Everyone knows that smoke particles are not healthy to breathe, and considering the fires in the west, everyone should be keeping an eye on their local air quality. But is there anything that the allergy and allergy asthma sufferers should know that concerns them specifically? Actually, yes, there is. People with allergies and asthma often have inflamed airways. If your airways are inflamed, whether that's your nose, throat, or lungs, adding irritants like smoke particles can make things worse. This pre-existing inflammation makes the allergy asthma community extra sensitive to smoke. So if you have been feeling like the recent smoke has piled on a little extra misery, you are not crazy. If you are in a situation where the air around you is extra smoky, pay attention to your symptoms and seek medical help at the first sign of trouble. The solution with smoke is just to avoid it as much as possible. Make sure the air in your home is clean by keeping windows and doors closed and making sure your HVAC filters are clean. Masks do work, but only if you have an N95 or a P100 handy. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can find us on YouTube on the Pollen Channel, and if you're watching on YouTube, download the Pollen Wise app, the only place for real hourly pollen and mold data.